Hey friends, let's talk about a traveler who didn't even really want the job she made history for. Meet Ruth Carol Taylor. And when you step onto a plane and see a black flight attendant, you're looking at her legacy. And I have many friends who are in flight crew, and this one is for y'all. All right, in 1957, Ruth was a registered nurse in New York. She was successful, she was settled into her career, and she really wasn't looking for a new one. But she had a problem with the fact that the airline industry at the time was whites only. Now, they didn't have a law saying that. They just used physical standards as a way to keep black women out of the cabin. So she applied to TWA, and when they rejected her for those physical standards, she filed a discrimination lawsuit. But while that case was tied up in court, she went to a regional carrier called Mohawk Airlines. Out of 800 applicants, they picked her. Now, Mohawk was trying to position itself as progressive and modern, and by applying to them while the TWA scandal was in the headlines, she actually backed them into a corner where they almost had to hire her and prove they weren't like the big guys. Now, I guess this is a case of early DEI, but the situation isn't that she wasn't qualified, because the rules weren't rejecting her because she wasn't qualified. They were rejecting her based on her ethnicity and race. I think that's the distinction that people forget when they are disagreeing with DEI practices. I digress. So on February 11th, 1958, history was made. She took off from Ithaca, New York, headed for JFK, and became the very first black flight attendant in US history. But here's the kicker. The part that shows you how strategic this move was, because like I said at the beginning, she really wasn't looking for a new job. She just hated the system. So she stayed in the air for only 6 months. Why? Because there was another rule. She got married, and back then the airlines had a marriage ban actually in contracts. If you were a stewardess, as they called them, you had to be single. And the minute she said, "I do," she was grounded. But here's the thing. Like I've been alluding to, Ruth admitted she never wanted a long-term career in the sky. She said she wanted to break the color barrier. She was an activist. She wanted to prove that black women could provide the same comfort and safety as everyone else. She was a nurse and she was an activist, and she took that job to prove that the standards were a lie and to break the door down so that the next woman didn't have to file a lawsuit just to get an interview. It's February 2026. We're tipping our hat to the 68th anniversary of that flight. Thank you, Mrs. Taylor.